welcome to Crypto and Taxes, where we discuss crypto taxes and regulation. And today we have Artem Afian, and we're going to talk about how current law actually applies into crypto. So we don't really need new crypto laws. There's actually current laws that we can apply to crypto. So Artem, welcome. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me here. My name is Artem Afian. For 15 years, I've been a very boring, ordinary lawyer running a big law firm in Ukraine. Quite expensive lawyer, I can say. Now I'm still a lawyer, still a founding partner there, but I'm switched to a Web3 legal tech project called Legalities, about managing your relations, signing up contracts with your blockchain wallet. But I still remember something from being a lawyer, so gladly share it with you.
If you're investing in a DAO, some countries like US, Delaware, I know that a DAO is officially regulated, meaning that you can sue a DAO. But obviously, there's a lot of countries, included Portugal, where DAOs are not considered officially identities. So what existing laws can you use if you have a dispute with a DAO that you invested in? So you invested in a DAO where there's basically like profit sharing and you're not receiving your cut from the founders of the DAO. What can you do in countries where there is no DAO regulation?
Actually, almost same answer. Like if in laws you can't meet the word DAO, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything. And actually, what I think and what I see, you don't need any specific regulation for DAO. DAO existed almost forever. They just named differently. It's simple partnership. And this is exactly what people are trying to achieve with DAO. I mean, in terms of legal form, because legislation has nothing to do with technology. Yeah, according to technology, DAO is a big thing, and it's kind of a game changer. And I think like this is a technical form of a simple partnership that can bring it to another level, but it's already legally developed. And in major countries, simple partnership has regulation. And if somebody, like main rule that is applicable almost to every jurisdiction I know, if someone can be named as a founder of a DAO, he makes a decision, he's responsible. So you will just have a burden to prove of that. Sometimes it's very hard, sometimes it's almost impossible. But if you're dealing with a DAO, it doesn't mean you don't have any rights. And if you're creating a DAO, it doesn't mean that you're protected just the same way as you created a limited liability company. DAO doesn't limit your liability. It means that you act personally as a physical person, and actually then it has to be defined, your role there, and from your role will occur a responsibility level.
Okay, so can you explain more about like this simple partnership? Is this something registered? Is this something that is like orally agreed? What is a simple partnership? I know that in every country it's probably like explained in a different way, but could you give your explanation of a simple partnership?
It's mainly given examples because explanations usually are very extremely boring. And you said that we don't have to make this video more than 2 hours long, and only this explanation will take 1 hour, 15 minutes. I will give some examples that you like 100% faced. First, and it's actually been on the meeting, but it didn't come up to me first, but I like it. When you have a co-living contract or you live with somebody, usually actually it's a simple partnership because part of obligations you take on together. And you manage some things together. So it's not always registered. And actually, in major countries, you don't have to register. You just have to sign a simple term sheet or a paper, or even without a sign. Then I love this example of simple partnership is a music band. So you came back together, you created some music, you do some parties, meet some girls, and at the end of the day, actually, the result of it, not someone's pregnancy if it appears, but sometimes it happens, but the music itself or income can be considered a simple partnership. But, and then another but, usually the simple partnership don't have a very cool regulation. So everything is blurred. That's why if you take, for example, Red Hot Chili Peppers or Metallica development, they have a legal entity. But if not until then, they're still covered by legislation. And this is a very good example of what happens with crypto. It doesn't mean you can, like, not knowing the law doesn't mean that they don't apply to you. So yeah, like simple partnerships are quite widespread. You can meet them almost everywhere. They're usually not well developed, not well used, and there are not so many court cases about them. But DAO is a simple partnership, and I strongly believe in that. I know that some lawyers especially may argue with that, but I can ensure that for a lot of jurisdictions, DAO is just one of forms of simple partnership.
Okay, so from the investor point of view, if you are willing to invest and participate in a DAO, if you do your research and you know that the founders are legit and you know them private and individual, then you're actually quite safe to invest in the DAO because you know which individual to sue. And from the DAO perspective, if you set up a DAO without a legal identity, those people need to know that they're legally responsible for any misconduct and mismanagement. So for DAO owners, you would strongly advise to set up a legal identity so you put the personal responsibility away and the identity becomes responsible. Is that how I understood it?
Well, yes, but the last sentence is maybe not fully correct, because usually it does mean that if you set up a DAO, you're not responsible for it. There is a theory of a fiction of a legal entity. It means that behind every legal entity, there are some physical person who acts by that. So if, for example, you're thinking about creating a DAO, collecting money, and then running away, it's quite a bad business plan, because still you will be responsible. DAO shouldn't be used just as a shield to avoid responsibility. You know, like main thing in law is actually also intention. And sometimes you have to prove your intentions. And like you're saying, if you're being offered to invest in DAO, my first advice, actually try to understand the legal nature of what you're doing. Because if it's named DAO, it can be something else. It doesn't mean that if it's like there is a word DAO, it could be a LLC actually behind that. And actually, we had a structure of first DAOs under an LLC and the community around that. So it wasn't super cool in terms of legal beauty, but it was working. So.
Well, thank you for answering all these questions. I think it's very, very interesting because it's kind of like most people in crypto won't notice because they have to go to a lawyer that charges a lot and they're like, okay, let's stay away. But it is something that people should be aware about, because I get these questions a lot. Like, what is the responsibility of a DEX? What is the responsibility of a DAO? Who is the owner of a wallet? And I think you were able to explain it pretty well. So in the video below, there will be links to you if people want to know more about you, or maybe even want to book a consult with you. And yeah, maybe if there's more questions in the comment section, we can do a part 2 of this video. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you for such questions. I had a lot of fun. Hope viewers also will have it.
Yes, so thank you, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.